And we are back with another great episode of Real Talk with JT. Guys, today I'm bringing you the fire, a Jason Posnick from Boston. I mean, if you're looking to
Not really.
know on how to create some great energy and run like a multi-million dollar business and really take it to the next level and not only make a lot of money and being as productive as you can be, but also have a lot of fun. Well, you definitely want to tune into this one because Jason, he is not just an amazing leader. It is a good friend of mine, someone who I have a tremendous respect for, just a great guy and an amazing human being. Jason, thank you so much for really being here today with us. I know it didn't work out the first time. I mean, look, shit happens, right? But that's what we good at. We just roll with it, and we roll with the punches, and we make it happen. So thank you so much for tuning in with us today, and bringing us some value to the viewers. So
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I'm super excited. It's funny because we always say Boston, but I actually live in southern New Hampshire. But everyone knows Boston, no one knows New Hampshire, so we roll with that. And last time, I do apologize. So our office flooded, dude. We had
holy
negative
smoke,
February 4th. You guys had those wicked cold weekends, right?
yeah,
Like negative 30 whatever degrees, right?
the pipe.
Pipe burst and a sprinkler pipe, and we had it's like the freaking Titanic. Our whole office flooded, 18,000 square feet. So we were then transitioning, and so I apologize, but we made it. We're here. We're back in the office. Let's go, dude. Let's go.
You floating? You on the boat or no?
No, we got it all repaired. Luckily, I'm a great swimmer though, if I had to. But no, we're back. We're water free, mold free, and we're in.
Good, 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 good. And so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how long in the business? How did you get into the business? What did you do before? And
Yeah. So I've done a lot of similar things, right? So I went to a military college, and then out of that, I ended up loving health and fitness. And I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I didn't want to go to law school or go to more school. And so I ended up selling gym memberships, right? And, it's funny because my parents are doctors, or my dad's a doctor. My mom has her PhD, though. She's a freaking genius. She's a professor. Love her to death. My older brother is a doctor. My younger brother's a doctor, right? Like middle child syndrome, not a freaking doctor. And I ended up going, Citadel, and then got a job in sales at a gym, and never thought I'd be in sales. I made no money, but I learned a lot. And I learned, most importantly, that I didn't want to be in sales because I didn't want to feel like I was pushing things upon people that they didn't need or weren't helping them. But what I learned working at the gym that applies to real estate is that service over sales. When you lead with service, the sales follow. And service, the biggest difference is statements versus questions. Sales is buy this because you need it. I'm telling you it's great. Sale or service would be, hey, John, weather's crazy, pollen everywhere. How you been feeling lately? And learning how you feel before I sell you this freaking vitamin C pack. Right? So I learned that, and I went from selling gym memberships to being the number one sales rep in the company over like 11 gyms, to managing multiple of the gyms. Then I got offered a job managing construction sales, storm chasing.
wow,
Dude, you want to talk wild? We would pull up a hail map, and I was actually started out as a project manager, and we'd go wherever the hail hit in the Midwest, and we would just knock on doors. Hey, I'm sure you saw the storm last night. I'm here along with the other 40 contractors competing for your business to assess your roof, your siding, your home, and then negotiate on behalf of you with your insurance company to get everything replaced at no cost to you. And that was intense. I was on the road for 9 months, away from my now wife, then girlfriend, just knocking doors, dude, living in hotels, made $0 the first 3 months. Was living on draws, and then finally a huge storm hit outside of Overland Park, Kansas. and we freaking packed up where we were in Omaha, Nebraska, drove to Overland Park, Kansas. I have a video actually still of a lightning storm that night. And we drove through the neighborhoods in the middle of the hail swath, softball size hail, just smashing mailboxes, cars. Is wild. And the next day we went out there and knocked on everyone's doors. And I ended up being the top salesperson in the next 3 storms. I just knocked more doors than everyone else. I can't fix anything. I'm not handy. I don't know shit, but I work hard, knocked more doors, met more people, made more connections, got promoted to national sales manager, kept traveling, kept growing. And then my girlfriend, now wife, was like, you got to come home. And like you said earlier, what's behind every strong man?
Even a stronger woman.
An even stronger woman. So my wife came back home to her. Fast forward, went to medical device sales, did really well there for 4 years with 2 different companies. One of them was a startup. Startup got acquired. I met Lisa Chinati because she sold my home and helped my now wife and I buy a new home. And then a year later, my company was acquired. I was looking for a change because med device, I was done. And she was starting a company. And I said, you know what? Let's give it a shot. And so I joined Lisa when she had 4 agents and 2 staff members. I was staff member number 3. That was June of 2017, 6 years ago this month. And today we're at 103 agents, 15 staff. We'll do 857 transactions this year. And we have our first $1 million revenue month for this year, this month. And it's bigger than it was in June last year before the rate shifted down. So let's go. Big.
And I mean, we can just unpack this and, make the whole podcast just about the first thing what you said, right?
Totally.
I think there's just so much, from your experience and that journey, what you went through and those lessons.
Yeah.
Right. To really bring you to where you end up, where you are today. So let me ask you this. I work with a lot of people which are in the military, and they are so freaking disciplined. And I wasn't in the military, but my grandpa was actually, he was a partisan in the Second World War. Wow. So I grew up with him, and he was military. I mean, we woke up at 4, we worked the whole morning. I mean, schedule, right? So, I mean, how do you feel the military school? What kind of impact did it have on you and in your business?
So I'm very competitive, but I also love camaraderie, right? I've always played team sports. So for me, going to the Citadel, it was the camaraderie, right? Made some amazing friends there. But it was also the opportunity to compete, right? If you wanted to, right, at the Citadel, you don't have to go in the military. You don't have to play sports. You don't have to do additional things, right? But all the options are there. And I made it a point to be a rank holder every year. I made it a point to be a part of the Summer All Guards. We were like the Billy Badasses of the Citadel, right? It's all based on physical fitness and discipline. And, you go through your knob year and your hell week. And I think for me, I love those challenges, right? And I think what's super reflective in sports and in the military is you're never alone, but the biggest thing is it's all up here, right? It is all freaking mental. And this is going to sound egotistical as shit. I don't mean it that way. But, dude, I will beat you. Like, pick the game, pick the sport, pick the event. You'll beat me at first, but I will find a way. Like, it's just that mindset. And look, it's not to be a cocky thing. It's just I will suck for the longest time, but I will figure it out. And I think the Citadel teaches you that, right? Like, you start out and you're doing 30 push-ups, and then you're doing 80 push-ups. And, when it comes to the physical fitness test, yeah, you can take it and you can pass. I wanted to get the high score, right? Like 68 push-ups or something passes. I want to do like 112, right? For the Marine Corps PFT, the 3-mile run is like, I think 21 minutes is passing. I want 17, like, right? And the same thing goes for sales. When I was with the roofing and restoration company, I could knock a few doors. I'm going to knock every door, right? I win medical device sales, right? I could, call on the hospitals that I know have a need, or I can go sit in the surgeon operating waiting room, right? Or break room, and talk to as many people as I can and outwork the other reps. Like, that's it, dude. Fucking tangent, but
And I mean, is it you versus the competition, or is it just you versus you? Like, are you doing it to challenge yourself to like push the envelope and just push the limits and get better?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixture, right? So, like, look at when I was selling gym memberships, right? Biggest lesson I learned, like I said, was that sales isn't gross. Sales isn't icky. Sales isn't salesy. It's not snake oil.
Mm-hmm.
True sales is led with service. And once I learned that, then I didn't just want to sell a gym membership, right? I truly believe in my heart of hearts that I was helping people improve their lives through fitness. And there was the competition of trying to beat the other people, right? Within my gym, within the other gyms, and to win the award. But it wasn't to say, I want you to lose. It was just to say, I want to be better than I was before. So you know who Simon Sinek is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Simon Sinek is one of my favorite authors of all time, right?
he's the
He
man.
talks about, he's what?
He's the man when it comes to
Yeah.
leadership. I mean, I read his book. It changed my life forever, man.
Leaders Eat Last.
Oh yeah,
Greatest book ever written.
yeah.
And he talks about actually in the infinite game, this idea of having a worthy rival, right? And he talks about that he's got this other author who sells as many books as him and in the same criteria or the same type. And he's like, I don't want him to lose or do bad. But whenever I hear his name, I get a little bit angry, right? I don't want other people to suffer or do poorly, but John, I want to beat you. And the same thing goes for real estate, right? I don't want other companies to lose out or not do well locally. I believe there's more than enough business for all of us, but I want to sell more houses than all of you combined, right? And that's just, you've got to have that. You've got to.
So let me ask you this. So is it something you feel like people are born with, or is it something you acquire through your life experiences, or is it maybe a combination of both?
I think it comes and it goes. I think it's like attitude, right? You're not born with an attitude, good or bad. You're born away. You're put into an environment, right? And the environment is where you live, the smells, the people, the noises, the treatment, the words that are used. You're put into an environment, and that creates your attitude. And attitude is the repetition of beliefs, of behaviors, of words over time. So I don't think you're born that way, right? I think you can be born into a better situation maybe, and that'll impact your attitude because of your environment, but you've got the control over it. And I think that's one of the most important things that I learned, right? Is going through life, you've got to control the controllables. The more time we spend bitching about the fact that it's raining out than we do going and buying an umbrella, homie, like, it's insane. You can't change it. What is there to complain about?
Funny enough, it just started to rain outside.
Well, you said that right before. That's what I thought of it.
So funny. And so, I mean, let's bring into real estate, right? So I know you said serve first, sell second. I mean, I believe that. Now, how agents can make the connection with real estate?
So how can you just make that connection with real estate? I think, look, it starts with you, right? The greatest salespeople have the curiosity of a child, right? It's about not wanting to sell a home. It's about understanding that homes sell. We sell homes as a result of building really powerful relationships. Homes are sold as a result of us really understanding a person who can improve the quality of their life through real estate. We don't sell homes. We solve problems, and the bigger the problems we solve, the more income we make.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we've got to focus, right? So many agents right now in this market are looking for that faster deal, right? Looking for that next deal, looking for that easier lead source. And they go out, they show a house, and if the client doesn't like it, they're looking for the next client. The best lead is the one that you got 30, 60, 90 days ago that you've had the opportunity to work, but it's only the best when you work it, right? And so to get into that service mode and to apply that to real estate, look for the questions to ask, not the answers to give, right? For example, John, you're a client and you ask me, how old's the roof on that house? Which is better? Ready? Ask me how old the roof is.
How's the roof, Jason?
John, it's 20 years old. That's option one. Ask me again.
How old is the roof, Jason?
You know, John, I don't have that in front of me. I'll find out for you though. I'm curious, how old would be too old for you?
I don't know how long they last. Usually like 30 years, 20, 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, they can. It depends on the shingle. I'll find out how old this one is and what type of shingle it is, John. What are some other items with this home specifically, or even in general, that you want me to look into that are really important to you?
Well, I heard like the electric should be up to date. It's an older home, right? It was built in the 20s, so maybe the electricity has to be updated. And the windows. I
Okay.
really want to make sure the windows they solid.
Okay. So I'll check on the roof, age, material, how long it'll last, the windows, what those look like, make sure they're solid, and then the electrical. John, now these are really good questions. Let me ask you, who's been helping you, or how familiar are you with the buying process, with inspections and whatnot, the lending process in the market? How familiar are you with those?
So I mean, this is our first time actually we're looking to buy a home, but my dad he bought multiple homes, so he went through it. And my uncle actually he has a construction company, so he does this on the daily. So he really told me like check the roof, check the electric, check the windows, and make sure the plumbing and the heating unit it's good in good condition.
John, super great advice that your dad and that your uncle are giving you there. I'm going to find out the answers to these. I'm also going to look for some homes that are similar to this one and have newer roof, updated electric, and updated furnace, windows, things like that. When would you want to start seeing homes, John? This week or this weekend?
Weekend is probably better for us.
Weekend's better. This
Yeah.
weekend coming up, John, for you and your wife, would Saturday or Sunday be preferred?
I would say Sunday. Let me speak to her first, though. I think she
Totally.
might have something going on. So let me speak to her first, and I'll get back to you.
Totally. I totally respect that. My wife's always got something going on as well, John. If we do this Sunday, would morning or afternoon be better for you and your wife?
The afternoon, man. I need to sleep in the morning.
I feel you, brother. So what I'm going to do, John, is I'm going to get you the answers to these questions. I'm going to book some tours for Sunday afternoon, and I'll book a bunch of different slots, talk to your wife, and then when would you like me to give you a call back?
Call me. Call me tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Awesome. I'll call you tomorrow morning, 8. I know you said you want to sleep in. What about 10? Is that probably better?
Yeah, more like 11.
11? I'll call you at 11 tomorrow
Yeah.
morning, John. Sound good?
Perfect. Sounds
Awesome.
like a
Now,
plan.
the second one was a much longer role play. Why was it longer?
Because you were going deeper. You were getting way more information. And to tell you the truth, for me, it felt, it was about me, right? It wasn't just about giving me the snappy information and trying to close me. It made me feel like you care about me by trying to understand where I'm coming from, and I don't think just very very few agents actually would take the time.
Well, and that's it, dude. So I say this to our team fucking daily. Takes time to save time. It takes time to save time. See, so often we want to have the answers because it helps our ego and we get some
Hmm.
dopamine when we have the right answer, right? 20 years old, blah, blah. But giving the answer ends the conversation. When someone asks you a question, it's because there's something else behind it. There's a really good book called The Question Behind the Question, right? QBQ.
Hmm.
When someone asks you a question, rather than giving the answer, figure out what they're thinking, right? I learned what other items you'd be looking at. I learned who else is part of the decision-making process. I am leading you, I'm framing it that you're free on Sunday, pending what your wife's doing. I'm going to book tours Sunday afternoon. Now, when I call you back tomorrow at 11, the opening of my call is, hey, John, I'm calling you like I said I would. I got the answer to your questions. I got some tours booked. And even better, found a great coffee shop. I'd love to buy you and your wife a cup of coffee in between tours Sunday. You know about houses because of your dad and your brother. I want to help you save time and money in the lending process. How helpful would that be? And that's where I'm going to get you in a consult. I don't want to just, oh, roof's 20 years old. Does that work? Yeah, great. Let's go see it. I don't want to show houses. I don't get paid to show houses. No agent does. You don't get paid to show houses. You get paid to solve problems. Go book a fucking consult, right? Understand their biggest fear. My favorite question to people, buyers on the phone. John, let me ask you, you nervous or excited? How are you feeling?
A little excited. I mean, excited, but a little nervous. Actually, it's a big move, man.
Yeah. If they say excited, oh my God, I'm excited. What are you most excited for? Because people make decisions to go towards pleasure or away from pain. You get me excited, we're going towards pleasure. You give me nervous, we're going away from the pain. John, what is it you're most nervous about? Overpaying, interest rates, the market crashing, inspections, whatever. You're giving me a reason to book a consultation. And at the consult, I can establish massive value. At the consult, now I'm not a fucking door opening conduit to see a house. I'm not a tool. At the consult, I become an advisor. I become trusted. I can give you lenders, attorneys. Consults are everything. I know I'm loud as shit. I see you turning the volume down.
No, it's all good. So I mean, listen. So you tell me you guys role playing with your team?
Dude, we role play every day.
Wow. How often do you guys role play? Like, how long do you guys role play for? And what the structure is of the role plays?
So with the inside sales team, I personally role play with them every day, except for Tuesdays. We have our L10. We role play for 1 hour. It'll be different things. It'll be objections we've come up with. It'll be calls. We'll practice just openings, a bunch of things. Today with the agents, we did role play for an hour. We did future pacing. We focused on the art of future pacing, what it is, what its real purpose is, how to use it, when to use it, why to use it, but really the appropriate manner to get the right result. It was awesome because after the training, I get a call from an agent. She's working on a deal and she's like, oh my God, it worked. Let me pull it up. Actually, I'll just tell you. So long story short, she took what we did in the training and rather than saying to her client, they come down to multiple offers, they're doing best and final, you've got to increase your offer to win. She took it to the emotion. It became, so good news. It's down to us and one other, right? And she was able to future pace. Now, one of three things will happen. They'll accept one. They'll tell us best and final. We both write a new offer if you want, or they'll counter one. Now, if they were to do best and final, how would you feel? What would you want to do? And if they were to counter, how would you feel? What would you want to do? And we're setting the client up to feel comfortable being countered or getting best and final. Mind you, they've already done best and final once. And so the agent, she was so nervous about this and she calls me and she's like, oh my God, they didn't freak out. I future paced them. We ended up getting another best and final. And the client who originally said 830 is my highest, 830, I'm done. Because she future paced them, it got rid of the surprise, the fear, went up to 850 and they won. But I can guarantee you, had she not future paced it and just called the client and said, hey, best and final, we've got to go up again for the third time now. How do you feel? The client would be like, what the you just told me best and final twice, man. Now you're telling me we got to go up again? But she controlled the emotions.
Yeah. I mean, how much do you feel the expectation and controlling the expectation, it has to do, how the client feels in that situation?
Everything. The client's feelings are 1000%. Look, it does, at the end of the day, we are in a relationship business. The reason why Zillow and Realtor, no company is going to replace you and me is because buying a home, unless you're an investor, is emotional. Emotion requires emotion. Time and energy is the single most important thing in an emotional transaction. And so with that, it's not what you say, but it's the impact that those words have. Because every word that we use has an emotional connection, right? It's switching using I to using you. It's going from, John, I think we should increase the offer. John, I think this home's going to be competitive. To John, if this home were to be competitive, how would you feel? Right? Understand the ways that people feel. You've read Never Split the Difference, right? With Boss. He talks about it in that book, that you've got to get people to a emotional state of not even being positive, but being comfortable or confident. That's when they can be decisive. When people aren't clear, they're not confident, they can't decide. That's when clients say, I got to sleep on it. I'm just not sure. Can I think about it? Right? It's that something in their gut feels wrong. But when you can hit them at the emotion, they can be decisive. Going back to Simon Sinek, you've seen his start with why speech, right?
Yeah.
The limbic in the neocortex of the brain. The limbic portion of the brain is where all decision-making happens. It's the center of the brain. It's the emotional center. The neocortex is logic. It's the external part of the brain, parts, but it doesn't actually make decisions. It just comes up with ideas or does basic logic, right? The heart chooses what the mind justifies. But the heart always chooses. If it feels right, no matter if it's not logical in the moment, they will make the choice. And all you have to do is get your clients to choose. I was talking to a team member the other day. This is for all the agents out there. He was bummed out because his client wrote another offer and didn't win. I said, that happens all the time. I said, all right. Did your client write the strongest offer they would have been comfortable with? Was it over list price? Was he waiving contingencies? Yes, yes, yes. Dude, if you write the strongest offer you can and you lose, you still win because you're putting your best foot forward. It's the agents who are writing offers that they know are going to fucking lose that aren't coaching their clients enough. Those are the ones that need to look back and get to the consult. But if your client's writing strong offers, just keep down the path. Be patient.
Now,
great book.
So I just came back from LA. I did the certification fail. Oh my God. That's the next level, bro. I'm excited.
He is the man. I love it.
The questions he has is just, it's a different level. But again, it starts with, that's what you said, the curiosity.
It's right? Everything.
That it's everything. So now let me ask you this, Jason. So I know you work with a lot of agents. What do you see in today's market being the biggest challenge for most of them?
Patience. Agents aren't patient enough. Whether it's on, I guess it's two things. It's patience and it's endurance, we'll say, right? Patience in that, look, we're so quick to say that a client of ours isn't serious. They're not serious about buying. They're not motivated, or they don't really want to sell. They're comfortable. And we stop making the calls and the touches because we convince ourselves that they don't want to. When in reality, we just want it faster. We want it easier. But it's not how it works. You earn it. It's called earning business because you earn it over time by doing the things. The fact that more than 80% of salespeople right now in real estate follow up less than 3 times makes me nauseous. The fact that more than 60% of agents in this country right now have sold less than 3 homes year to date makes me nauseous.
But I mean, Jason, if I call them once and they don't pick up, they don't call me back, that means they're not serious.
Yeah, I mean, they're not serious about working with you because you're not calling them enough, right? Clients don't ghost agents. They just don't know you exist. They forget about you, right? And the client that you call once, I'm going to call 7 times and I'm going to win. But what you just did, it's so funny because you're spot on, dude. Mm-hmm. So many agents. I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, how often do you ghost your clients? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, how many of your clients do you get as leads? You meet them once even. You call them 3 times and then you don't call them again. And she goes, I never thought of it that way. I was like, yeah, you're ghosting them. You're supposed to earn their business. They're not supposed to make it easy for you. They're supposed to object. They're supposed to have fears. But you're supposed to navigate that shit.
And what about if you work with a client for a couple of months maybe and you just couldn't get a job done, and then you find a couple of months down the line that he actually is under contract with another agent?
Yeah, you got to look in the mirror, right? It happens all the time. And my first question to those agents is, did you do a buyer consult? How consistent were your touches? And here's the other thing. I said patience and endurance. The endurance to keep following up. When they don't respond to you, that doesn't mean stop calling. It means call more, right? We've got to realize that there's things in our clients' lives outside of buying homes that can take precedent. But more importantly, we're in a pretty volatile market, right? Mm-hmm. We've got to be not just, if every follow-up you make is, hey, John, do you want to go out and see houses? Hey, John, do you want to sell your house yet? Hey, John, how's the home search? Like, no. Right?
That's what happens when they don't pick up the phone call anymore.
Yeah. Well, and that's where it's crazy. And it comes down to intentional touches, right? Intentionality. I did the 5 a.m. call this morning. By the way, go tune into that if you're not part of it. I think you're on it, right?
Sometimes,
yeah, enough, right? But I led it this morning and I talked about exactly this, using your CRM and being intentional, right? If you have in your CRM, send properties or call about properties. Okay. Hi, John. It's Jason at Chinati Realty. I'm calling about the properties I sent you. See anything you like? No? Okay. Hey, John, I sent you some properties. What'd you think? No dice? Okay. If we're always calling about properties and they don't like the fucking properties, what happens to us?
They don't like us.
They don't like us. We have no value. But if I can separate and call about the market, call about their process. Hey, John, I know last time we spoke, you mentioned maybe wanting to expand your search to a couple of different towns. I sent you homes in 3 towns, 20 minutes outside of the Catskills. I know you have a house there. Take a look at those. Let me know what you think. I'll give you a call tomorrow at 10, okay? Right? Hey, what do you think about those ones specifically? When you send properties, it's not just homes. It's you're going to love the kitchen in this one because. You're going to love the layout of this one because. And if in your CRM, the follow-ups remind you, call to discuss lending. We had an agent today. Client was offering 830 on a home. Or no, 7 something. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. That was the other one. But long story short, was in a multiple offer situation. Client didn't want to increase their monthly payment. So we were talking about it in training, future pacing, and she future paced the client. If there was a way to increase your offer without increasing your monthly payment, what would you do? So we role played it, and she made the follow up for the call she scheduled for this afternoon. Exactly that. She called them. She called me after. She found out that using an adjustable rate mortgage, right, a 2-1, she could get the same monthly payment and offer $20,000 higher. She asked the client that question. She remembered the question exactly because it was in her CRM, in her follow-up. Client said, I would do that in a heartbeat. Increased the offer 20K and won because she knew to ask the questions. If she called the client and said, hey, John, so it's multiple offers. We've got to increase $20,000 if you want to win. What do you want to do? Different outcome. So we got to be patient. When clients don't answer, don't make the choice to quit. Right? No action's always no result. You got to have the endurance to keep going and keep learning.
Yeah, I think like Simon, he said, if you have kids and they can walk for the first time, I mean, would you give up on them or would you be more patient and really, help them out to walk, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same thing applies, for us as leaders on agents on our team as well, right? So I'll flip it. So what do you see are some of the challenges, for the team leaders and their business in today's market?
The exact same thing. Being patient with your team members, with the agents that have given you the privilege to partner with you. Like, look, I look at a team as a partnership. And if an agent joins the team or joins, in our case, the brokerage, the company, it's because by working with us, we can improve their quality of life. We can improve their business, right? And if an agent isn't getting there, well, then it's my job to figure out why. Here's fun fact, Monica. That's awesome. It's so cool that pops up too. We've never released an agent since we were a team or a brokerage from this company because they didn't produce sales. Ever. If an agent joins us with a goal and isn't producing, it's not the agent's fault, right? Are we giving them the training, the support, the accountability that they need to get there, the leads? And if we realize that we are, then we have a discussion. Maybe we change the plan or change the goal. But if you say, you know what, I've decided I don't love real estate or I don't love sales. All right, go from 20 houses to 3, your friends and family, and I'm here when you need me. But for team leaders, CEOs, whatever you want to call yourselves, like in a market like this one, you've got to be leaning in even more, right? If you expect your agents, your team members, your business partners to keep their clients ahead of the times, motherfucker, you better be putting out content, keeping everyone ahead of the times. You better be leading impactful educational meetings and trainings. You better shift your trainings to match what's going on in the market. Simon Sinek, we're going to go back to him. Greatest quote of all time. When sales numbers and revenue and profits aren't being hit, when there's a problem in a company, the people are not the problem. It's the environment in which they operate. You fix that and things just go.
Now, how important you feel like is empathy?
Define empathy.
Well, empathy, for me, I think it's something, the ability to put yourself, in someone else's shoes and literally like pretend like you in their situation, right?
Yeah. I always say, because I think people confuse sympathy and empathy, I can sympathize for you and empathize with you. right? It's understanding. Empathy is everything, right? And this goes back to what we were just talking about is if an agent's goal is to sell 20 houses and I'm pushing them and training them and holding them accountable like they should sell 40 because I want them to or because I know they can, that's not empathy. It's my job to hold them accountable to their goal in a manner that they're comfortable at a cadence that they've agreed to. The second I hold them accountable in a way that I want to hold them accountable, that's bad accountability, right? And so you've got to empathize. You've got to understand where they're at, where they're struggling, but then it's take them down the path, right? We do the same thing with sellers and buyers. You know, one of the biggest mistakes agents make in this market that shows zero empathy is buyer comes not pre-approved. The agent either A, gets frustrated, which I love a non-pre-approved buyer because now I can get you pre-approved with a great lender and you're going to work with my guy or girl and that means I've got you, right? A, solve a bigger problem, show you a house or get you pre-approved, I'm going to get you pre-approved. But secondarily to that, I'm not going to put you on an email with a lender and say, John, meet Jason. He's a great lender. Jason, John's a first-time buyer. Let me know when you guys connected. That's just lazy. Takes time to save time. I'm going to say, John, when's a good time for you to hop on a call with my buddy Jason? He's a phenomenal lender. We can talk programs, products, savings, and process. When do you want to do that? I'm going to book a time. I'm then going to put them on an email. John, meet Jason. We're all going to be hopping on a 3-way call tomorrow at 5 p.m., just like you asked, to talk programs, savings, products, and process. Can't wait to see you guys all then. John, I'm going to call you at 4:55, and we'll loop Jason in at 5 o'clock. Then I'm going to facilitate that phone call. Yeah, it's going to take time out of my day, but it's going to save me those 50 follow-up calls of, hey, John, did you hear from Jason yet? Hey, John, did you call the lender yet? Hey, John, are you pre-approved yet? Those aren't valuable phone calls. Those aren't empathetic phone calls. I'm not going to point and say, go talk to him and get your pre-approval. I'm going to say, let's go together, bro. I got you. Right? That's empathy. But the agents who take the empathetic path come from the teams or the brokerages where the leaders take the empathetic path. If the brokerage or team lead says, oh, you've got a question? Go look it up. Right? I'm not saying hold people's hands on everything, but don't just give the answer. Teach how to get it. Right? Teach the client, introduce them to the lender. Then they'll ask them moving forward. When your agents have questions, don't just point, hey, do you know where to get that? How to get that? What it means? Why it means it? Let's role play it. Okay, now go fly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, Jason, desperation in real estate, right? Because I think a desperate agents makes desperate moves, stupid moves, right? So if you're a new agent, you maybe have 2 deals under contract, 3 months of funds. Now you're working with this client and you just itching to close them. Like what are your suggestions on that? Because there's a lot of desperation, and I think that's really dragging everybody down.
Yeah, I mean, where do you think that desperation comes from?
With lack of funding.
Lack of funding, lack of So when I used to be when I used to recruit, or not recruit, but I was in med device or construction sales, I would hire salespeople. And one of the things I always do in an interview, and I got laughed at all the time, but it worked, is I would say, bring me a picture of the inside of your car. Why would I do that?
You want to know what kind of car they have and what condition is it in.
I don't really give a shit about the make or model. It's funny, people always thought that. The condition, I want to see how messy or sloppy it is. I want to see what kind of things they keep. I think there's a book that I read. So the way someone exists in their vehicle is going to be the most accurate resemblance to how they do everything. But so going to that need, right? That desperation. If I see the inside of your car and I see food wrappers, empty drink bottles, freaking just trash receipts everywhere.
Sleeping bag, maybe.
Sleeping bag, baby, right? I know that you're living by the seat, right? You're doing things as they come. And that impulsivity, right, is what's going to lead to desperation, right? We get desperate when we don't plan because we put ourselves into a situation that we didn't expect or weren't prepared for. And so the agents who are in desperation mode, I challenge them to go back and look at their plan. I challenge them to go back and look at their schedule. Do they have a schedule? Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. I think, hold on, let me switch my camera.
It's a very good still shot of you. You look badass. There he is.
I'm back.
But I think it's planned, right? If you feel desperate, It's because you've got one deal coming, nothing else, because you didn't do the things. You didn't follow your schedule. You didn't plan. So you can't fix it urgently. You can't create a fire drill. You can't do anything immediately to change it. But you can make sure it doesn't happen again. Build a freaking schedule. Get an accountability partner and lean in to getting uncomfortable, right? I make agents send stupid video texts all the time. I say stupid, but they're really not. They're the greatest thing ever, right? And at first, no, I don't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's more painful, sending a video text or losing a client? Oh, shit, right? There's two hards, being broke or doing the hard things to not be broke. You pick which one. But it stops that desperation. Desperation isn't the moment. It's what you did before, right? It's the lagging indicator of everything else you did or didn't do.
So I know you said, planning is super important, right? I mean, overwhelming is under plan. What do you feel like it is the perfect schedule for an agent?
I think it changes for everyone. I think you have to have three things in your schedule as an agent, no matter what. I don't care when you do them or how you do them, but you have to have these three things 5 days a week. One is nurturing and prospecting. Every single day, 5 days a week minimum, you pick the days, you have to nurture your current clients and prospect for new business.
And now when you say nurturing and prospecting, do you mean cold calling?
Could be, if that's how you prospect. Nurturing is people who you've spoken to, met with, are currently under agreement. You've got to stay on top of them, your sphere of influence, whatever, right? That, and then prospecting is getting new clients. You're a salesperson. You've got to be bringing new people into the funnel at all times. So what I always tell agents is schedule 2 power hours per day, one for nurturing, one for prospecting. And you're probably not going to hit 2 every day. That'd be 10 hours a week. That's great if you do. As long as you hit at least one, that's 5 hours a week, 1 hour a day, you'll be good enough, right? Good if you're okay with good enough. So prospecting, nurturing, put it in your schedule, track it. Second thing you have to have in your schedule 5 days a week is market research. The biggest mistake I see in agents right now is that they don't know either their market or they don't even know the macroeconomic view. They don't even know what's going on in the market nationally. And in order to sell homes on the micro scale, you've got to understand the macro. But you've got to be able to speak to clients about both, because your clients are going home and watching national news and seeing national headlines and being misled by all of those things. And so you've got to understand what they're hearing and seeing so that you can speak to it. So market research for an hour a day, 5 days a week. And that also includes new homes coming on the market, trends, data, all that.
Any places would you suggest for them to get their data?
I love KCM for the macro. For the macroeconomic, KCM. And they're coming out with the local stuff too, which is going to be amazing once it comes out. But until that happens, use your MLS. There's so much data in there. Like shit, pick a town and look at actives, look at under agreements, look at sold, look at the change in those numbers over the last rolling 30 days or the last month or whatever it may be. Simple is better, right? You don't need to know price per square foot and this, that, and the other. Just know the sales, know the under agreements, know the days on market, know the average price point. And then the third thing is personal professional development, because there's no neutral in life. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And that's why I go to the gym. That's why I don't read books. I listen to books. I try to do like at least one every other week, right? 2 weeks for a book. So I listen to the same one twice to really get enough out of it. But if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I believe that skills scale, right? You know who Jim Rohn is?
Yes, that's the granddaddy of everything.
The granddaddy, right? He always says that the only way to make more money is to become more efficient. And the only way to become more efficient is to become better. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better, and then go get better. And so if you can improve your sales skills and your scripts and book more appointments with less leads where clients actually show up, then you can sell more homes in less time or the same amount of time. Then you have the option. Do you want to take the leftover time to take more leads and sell more homes, or go on a vacation, go do something else, right? But along with improving your sales skills, you've got to improve yourself personally. I'm not saying be ripped up and in crazy shape, right? But I'm saying how you feel about yourself is going to play the biggest piece of the puzzle, or be the biggest piece of the puzzle in how you do anything. And how you do anything is how you do everything. And 2022, full transparency, was the most unhealthy year of my life. I was going out.
I was just about to say, you look ripped, bro.
I'm getting back into it, right? Since January of this year, I'm back into it. 5 days a week, 2 a days for most of those. Like this morning, I did 20 minutes walking and then 2 miles rowing. And tonight, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a back workout. My diet's on point. Like I'm obsessed again. But 2022, I got fucking lazy, right? Strong markets create weak people, weak skills. And I got fucking weak when it was easy. Where I'd go to the gym, but I'd half-ass my workouts. I would go out to eat 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and I'd have a drink or two, right? Each one of those times. I don't drink during the week anymore. And when I do drink, it's a glass of wine on the weekend, right? And it's all these little choices, right? Not to go out to eat, but to go to the gym, to prep my meals versus door dashing, to go for a walk with the dogs versus going to a club in Boston, right? It's all these little things. But in the last 5 months of really being locked in again, John, I felt better than ever. And no one else could do it but myself. I just had to make the choice.
No, you look.
And my wife had to tell me that I was getting a belly. So.
All right, you're looking. It's always the wife. I mean,
Dude.
same here, man. So let me ask you this. So you said skill, prospecting and nurture,
and market research.
Now, how important is tracking your numbers?
It's extremely important. If you don't track your numbers, you don't know where you're going. Like another perfect example, our top agent, his name's Alan. He's phenomenal. He's been our top agent 2 years in a row,
wow.
And almost 3.
Wow.
But going back his second year with us, he came to me and we're looking at his business and we're looking at his numbers. And he wasn't doing as well as he'd hoped. He'd had a serious Achilles injury, a bunch of stuff going on. But we looked at them. And so the year prior, right, looking at his appointments, showings, offers, deals, he was averaging like 40-ish or 20-ish, showings per month, 20 to 30 showings per month. He was writing in at least 10 offers per month and getting 3 to 5 of them accepted per month consistently.
So 1 out of 3.
Those are fucking great numbers, dude, right? Fast forward, he was doing like 80 showings a month, writing less than 4 offers and getting 1 or less accepted. And so we're sitting down, we're looking at it, and like we talked about his business. He's like, I'm working more than ever. I'm taking more leads. I'm meeting more people. Like, what's going on? So we looked at his numbers and I said, what changed here? So we started talking about it. I said, are you still doing buyer consults? He's like, well, no, not as often because I've got too many clients. Like, I've got to go. I do driveway consults now. I said, motherfucker, stop it. No more driveway consults. Before a third showing, you sit down in a coffee shop or an office and you do a consultation to identify a problem, a solution, and a plan. Well, fast forward, took about 60 days, but his numbers turned back around. He was back to like 30, 40 showings a month with 10 to 15 offers written with 3 to 5 accepted. And he ended up finishing the year at like 20, or I think he finished at like 32 million for a second year agent.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Now, do you guys do second buy consults? Let's say if you do the first one, you take them out twice and it doesn't go through. Do you revisit to sit down with them again and be like, hey, listen, maybe I'm missing something. Let's just go back. Let's review what happened.
If you've gotten to the point that you've written 4, 5 offers, or you've seen like 10 plus houses and haven't written an offer yet, restart. And you might restart a dozen times.
Yeah.
I was with an agent Saturday and she's written 11 offers for this couple. And they were lowballing at first. They didn't understand the market. So I said, go back to a consult, future pace the market. She did that, started running stronger offers, but still losing. And then they said to her, we're going to take a break. She called me. She's like, what do I say? All right. Hey, guys, I totally understand you want to take a break. Let me ask you, when do you think you want to pick this back up? Right? If we try to push them to keep going, we lose. Know when they want to pick it back up. What do they mean by picking it back up? And then ask them, what would you want to do different next time? But at the end of the day, like you've got to just restart them. And they have an apartment that's month to month. It's cheap as hell for them, right? It's affordable. And they like it. They want to buy a house, but they don't need to. And you can't sell readiness.
Yeah. And I mean, look, maybe something changed, right? Maybe they went out a couple times and they realized a few things that maybe, we're not ready to buy now. Maybe we need to save up more money, or look at somewhere else in different neighborhood,
Yeah, dude.
right?
And that's where, look, to me, though, they're not dead, right? You can still get referrals, you can get a review. And if you keep nurturing them appropriately and you keep that personal rapport, you're going to get them when they decide to buy, right? The goal isn't to get clients who buy and sell now or to convince people to transact. The goal is to become an integral part of their process of buying or selling so that when they're ready, we're the obvious choice. But again, it's not about selling houses or buying them. It's about making an impact, and the lagging indicator, the result is a home sale, but you've got to make the impact. Otherwise, you're chasing leads forever versus building a business.
The craziest to me is that, when you call someone, the agents, when they speak to someone on the phone, their expectation is, you got to buy now. That's why you're calling me, right? And I mean, 30, 60, 90-day pipeline, what we start doing now is actually 12 months pipeline to really figure it out. Hey, you want to buy in December, October, July, like when it will be the best time for you to go on the contract
Totally.
and figure it out. Hey,
go ahead.
yeah. I mean, if it's December, it's fine. Hey, we'll go out sometimes in October. But what we can do now to really make you ready, these are the steps to really get you prepped. So when October comes, you're ready, and we're gonna get the best property at the best price.
We have a script for that. I call it backing into it. Hey, so you want to buy in December? Awesome. What about December is important to you for a closing time, right? Get the perspective. Great. So if you want to buy in December, we know once you find the place, it takes about 45 to 60 days to close. So when do you want to start the process? End of October. Okay, so we'll start in the end of October. And what do you consider starting? Is it seeing properties? Is it meeting with a lender? Or is it meeting with me to look at the market, the process, and how we're going to help you? Oh, the third one? Okay, awesome. So if you want to start in October to be there in December and starting is meeting with me, why don't I call you once a month? And then once we get to like beginning of October, we'll book it. But back into it, right? And it's just psychology.
Yeah. And even, sometimes until the agents, right? You could test the buyers out to really see how knowledgeable they are about the real estate. Because if you're looking for a while, guys, most of the time the buyers, they know the market better than us.
Right.
Right? Like you could ask them, okay, you're looking in Bayside, four bedroom, 2 bath with a basement, like, price wise, how much they going for?
Right.
And they should know, right? Like if the expectation is right, they know the pricing.
Totally. And they usually do, right? Or they at least have an idea. And even if their idea of it is way off, ask them, find out how far off base they are, because if you can understand their perspective, then you know where to coach on the next conversation.
Yeah, right on. Now, I got a great question over here, Jason. Can you share some key strategies or principles that have played a vital role in propelling your team to the very top in your area?
Strategies. I think it's people first, right? I think, what really separates us is we have a shit ton of leads. We have a great lead generation pillars, right? With Zillow, Flex, and Realtor.com and all that. But it's the way that we treat our partners, the agents that we work with. It's the training that we give, and it's how much support they get, right? We have a manager on duty every weekend. Colin O'Brien, sales manager with us, was the manager on duty this weekend. And he was in the office with the ISAs, with a couple agents role playing, answering calls from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., helping agents write offers, pop in on open houses, right? The level of support that we bring is everything. And so if you want to propel your team, well, first you need a vision. What do you want your team to look like? Then you've got to look at what is the biggest problem you need to solve. I believe firmly that real estate's biggest problem as an industry is the leadership. That leaders in real estate don't realize, or maybe they don't want to admit, how much time, energy, and effort it takes to really help somebody build a successful career. And we're in an industry that people get into and they say, flexibility is what I want. Well, what do you mean by flexibility? You've got to know as a leader that you're going to be there with your people from the front all of the time. And the training, every brokerage, every team says training, support, lead gen. And we all say the same things, kind of like agents who go to a listing appointment: photos, marketing, staging. But what's really in there? And the fact that we as an industry still have an 85% failure rate makes me nauseous. If you can't improve an agent's life, you shouldn't be recruiting them. What's your vision? What's your value prop? What's your avatar? We turn agents away all the time, whether it's because they're too part-time or they live too far. We can't get them the leads in the areas they want, and they have no way to generate their own leads, and they can take the training, but they have another job. Like, if I can't help you, I'm not going to recruit you. And the problem with this industry is the leaders. It's that people recruit people out of spite, just to get a huge roster, to make some money on whatever, right? On a split or whatever. Like, be better. All of us, myself included, be better.
This is so good, man. Well, I know we almost at the end. If it went fast, right? I mean, we can keep on going, man. You get the whole pack of Celsius over there, so we can go till the morning, man. If you be a superhero, which one would you be?
Oh, I would want to be the Hulk, obviously.
Just smashing everybody.
Just smashing everybody, but also kind of a softie inside.
I love it. And I mean, what do you feel like it is your superpower?
Who would you be?
Who would I be? Oh no, I probably would be the Wolverine, man.
Really? All right, little sharpshooter.
Yeah, just splice people up. Can never die. Nothing can beat me. You can shoot me. You can burn me. Whatever. I'll always come back.
Okay,
Yeah.
Look at you, dude. Yeah. I love that. I haven't thought that far into it. All right, I dig that. What was your other question? I forgot.
What do you feel like is your superpower?
I think people, right? I think my superpower is also my passion. It's people. To this day, everything I've done in life has been around people, right? I love seeing people succeed, grow, endure, overcome. I love when people challenge themselves. It's my favorite thing, right? And whether it's in real estate, I do the Big Brother program still. He graduates high school this year. I've had him for 8 years now. I love the kid to death, but like seeing him grow over the last 8 years has been, dude, I got him when he was 9. Now he's 17, turning 18 in September. And like with where this kid's come, and he's not my son, but I spent a lot of time with him. I love him. And to see how much he's grown and he's overcome challenges, like fires me up. Like it gets me fucking excited, dude.
This is so good. I mean, I got to chit chat with you more about it. This sounds so cool, man. The Big Brother.
Fun. It's fun.
And so before I release you, to the world, what would you leave us with, man? Give us your 5 cents.
I'm reading a great book. It Takes What It Takes. I'm going to make this super short. Forget positive thinking. Forget negative thinking. Neutral thinking. Trevor Moawad passed away actually about a year ago, or 2 years ago, actually, coming up. But you heard of him?
No.
He was a sports psychologist, amazing guy. He wrote the book, amazing guy. But what he did, and he worked with Christine Porath, who's a scientist at Georgetown, did a study. Thoughts are not as powerful as spoken word. Positive thoughts or positive words spoken are 10 times more powerful than positive thoughts. Negative words spoken are 4 to 7 times more powerful than that. And so what he and Christine Porath and a bunch of other people studied and proved was that if you can just not say negative things out loud, you can immediately change the outcome, the actions of what's going to happen. By changing the actions, you change the results. And so the way he proves it is Bill Buckner, for any baseball fans, was a famous Red Sox player. Let the ball go through his legs, let the tying run score in the World Series, cost them the game and the series. 19 days before that, he was in an interview and they said, "Did you ever imagine you'd be here?" He said, "I didn't. I love the sport. And I always had the fear of being in the big game. The ball goes through my legs. I cost my team the game." Because he said it, there's reason to believe that that's spoken into existence. So what I leave you guys with is, I'm not saying go be positive. I'm not saying don't be negative, because you can't help thinking negative things, but you control this. What do you say? And if you can control the things you say about yourself, about others, and to others, specifically your clients, control the emotions you convey, you will control your own, And that intentionality behind words will lead to intentional actions, and you will get the results that you want. Fucking promise.
So good, bro. I love you, man. Thanks for
I
tuning
love
in,
you, guys.
guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Peace out. If you guys like this, give us a like, subscribe, and most importantly, share it with your loved ones because that matters. Share the love. Peace.